Sometimes he would not allow me to sleep until I participated in acts of fear, pain, torture, and humiliation. I played along with whatever he wanted, enduring constant daily abuse and on occasion rape.
At least when you laugh after you fuck her, it is not rape.
Hey guys, welcome back to my main channel. I just posted a new episode of my new podcast, The Blaire White Project. Link is down below to my Patreon to go check that out for yourself. But there have been some really disturbing and upsetting allegations, both surfacing and resurfacing, about singer Marilyn Manson recently. Multiple women at this point have come forward alleging their accounts of being groomed, physically and sexually violated, blackmailed, and more at the hands of Marilyn Manson. Obviously, due to the nature of this channel where we do discuss predators, my supporters have asked me to talk about this, but admittedly, I'm not proud of this, but my own cognitive dissonance has really stopped me from even looking into this because, full disclosure, I am a huge Marilyn Manson fan. I have been my entire life. Growing up, I was the weird kid, the freak, the kid that was bullied all the time, the gay kid who no one understood why I walked and talked and moved through the world in the way in which I did. And Marilyn Manson to me always represented this idea that it was okay to be different. It was okay to be the outcast, and you actually were cooler because of it. So he's always been important to me. I'm not even just a casual supporter that maybe is more attached to his older, more iconic hits. I've enjoyed almost every project he's ever put out. So admittedly, it was hard for me to really open my mind to the idea that these allegations may be true. But if you're like me and you're left confused and wondering if this is true or false, like if you should be a fan anymore, if you should not, my intention today is to dissect these allegations that are now in the public square, for us to dissect and really decipher my own opinion on how I feel about it. A reminder that I am wholeheartedly against cancel culture. It's important to remember throughout this entire video, there has been no conviction. I am neither a judge nor jury. I am merely a person forming my opinion on things that are available for me to see. And while it is my opinion that a lot of these allegations we're discussing are credible today that we're going to go over, I also want to make it clear that this is either a tragedy or a tragedy. The situation is that this is either a man that is so loved and powerful and rich and successful that it has shielded him from consequences, allowing him to be able to sexually and physically violate women, or women are lying and trying to destroy a man's career. There's no win from this. And while he is innocent until proven guilty, that's how it works. That's what I believe in. I think that unfortunately the, court of public opinion is a lot swifter than the court, of the justice system. And so I think that there already has been a huge now stain on his legacy. So again, my own previous reverence for this man and this artist has definitely stopped me from looking into this, because I kind of felt like all of our favorite artists these days are getting hit with these allegations. And in my mind, I was almost numb to it, like, oh, they're trying to get someone else. But I do feel differently after actually looking into, these incidents. This began exploding when actress Evan Rachel Wood came forward and named Marilyn Manson as her physical and sexual abuser. She claimed that he had groomed her as a teenager and they were together when she was 18 and he was 36. So automatically there's a very unhealthy power dynamic present there. There had been speculation about these two before, but it was really a February 1st Instagram post by Wood that set this all off. Her post reads, "The name of my abuser is Brian Warner, also known to the world as Marilyn Manson. He started grooming me when I was a teenager and horrifically abused me for years. I was brainwashed and manipulated into submission. I am done living in fear of retaliation, slander, or blackmail. I am here to expose this dangerous man and call out the many industries that have enabled him before he ruins any more lives. I stand with the many victims who will no longer be silent." Her allegations also include psychological abuse and the use of torture devices on her, rape, and just heinous stuff. Now, in my opinion, while of course these claims have not been proven in court, there is a timeline that definitely lends credibility to Wood's story. In June 2009, Marilyn said in an interview that he had violent thoughts about Evan Rachel Wood, saying that his song, "I Want to Kill You Like They Do in the Movies," is about the fantasies he had every day about smashing her head with a sledgehammer. So you have a woman who's claiming that she was physically abused by him, and then he goes on record saying that he has fantasies about physically abusing her. It's not that far of a leap to assume that at least a portion of what is being alleged happened. And if even a portion of it is true, then he is a dangerous person who deserves to face consequences. In April of 2019, she testified in front of the California Public Safety Committee in support of a bill that would expand rights to domestic violence victims. In this testimony, she described being abused by a man much older and more powerful than her, and I'll play a clip right now.
When I was a teenager, I met a man. I looked up to him in many ways and felt like we had a special bond, and I had no intention of it turning into something romantic. When it eventually did, I wasn't sure how to stop it, as he had a certain charisma and power, and I quickly surrendered to his charms. I was smart, but a smart 18-year-old is still an 18-year-old, and I thought I had fell in love. It wasn't until much later that I realized everything he had told me was a lie and part of what is called the grooming process. He cut me off from my close friends and family one by one. He broke me down through means of starvation, sleep deprivation, and threats against my life, sometimes with deadly weapons, which would result in me having severe panic attacks where I was unable to breathe or stop shaking. Sometimes he would not allow me to sleep until I participated in acts of fear, pain, torture, and humiliation. I played along with whatever he wanted, enduring constant daily abuse and on occasion rape, until I found a way to escape safely. Years later, my therapist would identify this as Stockholm Syndrome.
So in this testimony, she never named Marilyn Manson. Again, this was in 2019. And so I think it lends credibility to the fact that if this was someone who was just trying to come out for attention or media notoriety, for trying to, come at someone very rich and powerful, it seems to me as if she could have done that a lot sooner than, first of all, this allegedly occurred decades ago when she was a teenager, and second of all, this testimony was 2 years ago. It took her nearly 2 years to actually name Marilyn Manson as her abuser. There was clearly a lot of buildup to coming out with this. So the fact that he was 36 and she was 18 already establishes an unhealthy power dynamic that's obviously already messed up, in my opinion. I know it's legal, but it's still, like, I'm 27. I could never imagine dating someone even 23 or 24. I'm gonna be honest. It's just, I can't. And then you add in the fact that he was a rich and powerful rock star. Come on. So Marilyn denied the allegation, saying, "Obviously my art and my life have long been magnets for controversy, but these recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality. My intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners. Regardless of how and why others are now choosing to misrepresent the past, that is the truth." So I'm not someone that automatically will read a statement or an apology or anything of that sort from a celebrity and instantly be like, oh, this is BS, or just defending themselves, trying not to get canceled. It's like, yeah, that's the point. What do you expect? Like, that's the point. And I think the statement from Marilyn was as good as it could have been. But again, the fact that she was a teenager and he was 36, that automatically lends to a situation where there is, at the very least, some controlling behavior from the older person in the relationship. It's already unequal. So when Woods says that she was controlled by him, that's not really that much of a stretch, right? Raped by him, maybe a little more of a stretch, but who knows? Brainwashed by him, honestly, I don't have a hard time believing that. Anyone who wants to be with someone that young when you're that old, there is clearly something you want out of the relationship that is not healthy, in my opinion. Following Wood's allegations, several more women have come out. Filmmaker Love Bailey has come forward and said that in 2011, on set of a photo shoot, he held a gun to her head and called her a slur. This was in 2011.
Marilyn pulls a gun to my head, a big Glock, a metal Glock, not a toy gun. This was a real gun. And he pulls a Glock straight to my forehead and says, "I don't like f***s," as he laughs in this really dark, aggressive tone. This wasn't a joke. This wasn't humorous behavior or something to take lightly. And I remember being stunned in that moment. I felt powerless.
In a parallel story, musician Chloe Black alleges that he physically abused her, saying, "I've only been bruised to the point of my skin turning black once in my life. It was from him." Other names of accusers include Sarah McNeely, Ashley Lindsay Morgan, Ashley Walters, Brittany Lee, Scarlett Capella, Yee Bailey, and possibly others I may have missed. So it's clearly sparked a domino effect, as these things often do. And what's unfortunate is that when the seal is kind of broken and then this person's coming in, and there's just story after story, it becomes more difficult. Just based on the fact that there are so many more stories now to consider, it becomes more difficult to confirm them and, confirm their credibility. The sad truth is that in these situations in the past, there have been people that have leaped onto a bandwagon for less than genuine intentions. And that's not me making any claim either which way about these individual women, but it just is what it is. And a very key element to this story and deciding for yourself if Marilyn Manson is a predator or not is that you have to remember, or you have to know now at this point, that there is a very dark timeline of accusations, even way before now, against Manson. In fact, there are more allegations out about him than about other people that we've seen take a fall and end up going to prison. In December 2001, Marilyn was charged with assaulting security guard Joshua Kiesler after spitting on him and rubbing his G-string clad genital area on him. He was accused of 4th-degree criminal sexual misconduct with demeanor, assault, and battery. So, I mean, in April 2002, there was a wrongful death lawsuit against him after the death of actress Jennifer Syme. Her mother sued Marilyn for wrongful death, alleging that he gave her drugs and encouraged her to drive while inebriated. Marilyn claimed these allegations were false, of course, but all of this does help paint a picture of what Marilyn may be capable of, right? And it does paint a narrative that supports more recent claims. And while it's true that we can leave a certain amount of room for grace in the fact that he is a performance artist, he is a shock jock, and he says things to be purposely shocking, and that can't be an indicator necessarily of if it is true or false, how much room do we really give, right?
See, at least when you laugh after you fuck her, it is not rape.
At what point does it begin to paint a picture that we just maybe didn't put together before? On stage is one thing, and again, people say shocking things on stage, especially artists like this. I personally have seen Marilyn Manson live at Ozfest, and it was a very shocking performance. It was meant to offend you on a lot of levels. But it does make you wonder now with these allegations how true they were. So as of only a couple days ago, actually, there is a police investigation that has been opened in Los Angeles on Manson in regards to the allegations from decades ago of domestic violence. And again, the court of public opinion is much swifter than the court itself, and the fallout on his career has began, and it's pretty severe so far. He's been dropped by his manager of apparently 25 years, dropped by his record label, and it's now left with supporters like myself wondering, is it okay to like his music? Is it okay to listen to it? How do you approach separating the art from the artist, right? It's the age-old question. It's the same question we ask when we maybe enjoy a Harvey Weinstein film. You know, all of this as a fan pains me to see, but as a human being, as a woman, and as someone who's been raped, I don't regret anything that happens to him after this if these things are true. And again, if only a portion are true, then there needs to be justice. You know, it's frustrating because I feel like a lot of our favorite artists and people in positions of power, they get hit with these allegations, and we're left wondering like, oh my god, should I ever have supported this person? So that is the question I leave with you guys. Is it okay to still listen to artists that get hit with these allegations or not? And what do you think about this when it comes to Marilyn Manson? Do you think it's true? Do you think it's false? Do you think it's half true? What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments and I'll be reading them. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel as well as my side channel. I'll put an annotation somewhere on the screen for you to do that. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok because I post on there way more than I do on here. So you gotta follow those to keep up with me. Definitely check out my podcast, The Blaire White Project. Link is down below to my Patreon so you can go see that. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.